Hi everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Tax Tips channel. My name is Cherry Chen. I am a chartered professional accountant located in Oakville, Ontario, Canada. And I'm in the business to become the Google Map for Canadian investors. And today I have Kayla Andre here, and she's the founder of this, how do you call this, Ontario Landlords Watch?
Yeah, it's a community. I think we don't want to call it as an association. I think it's more of a community.
A landlord advocate community?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
good.
we have Kayla here to talk to us about the tips and the stuff that she's been advocating and the tools that she recently found to help landlord to fight for our right. Is that right?
Perfect.
Yes. So before we get started, make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay on top on the latest landlord tools as well as the tax tips. If you have any questions, please comment in the section below so I can personally get back to you. With that, let's get started. Kayla, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your family.
Oh, okay. So I am a mother of four. They are 17, 12, 8, and one's going to be 2 in October. Definitely remember my last one, planning a conference, 9 months pregnant.
I remember that.
It was fun, and everyone's like, "Oh my God! Like I can't believe you did it!" But we did it, and it was a very successful conference, and we do miss it. But since then, it's been a challenge just to keep up with 4 children, as well as being an investor.
Yeah.
And also a property manager as well.
It's crazy. I don't know how you handle it with a kid that's under 2-year-old. And I don't want to remember how I did it back in the days, so I don't really want to get to know. But I applaud you for what you're doing. So tell us a bit about Ontario Landlords Watch.
So Ontario Landlords Watch was created in 2010 when the City of Cambridge introduced a water billing policy bylaw that forced landlords to be responsible for their tenants' delinquent utility bills. Through that process, we got to know a lot about municipal policies. We got to learn a lot about how government was very heavily involved into the industry. And then we started to get a petition to stop that water billing bylaw from being introduced in Cambridge and many other cities across Ontario. And that had unraveled into the petition coming back with messages and notes and emails going, "Thank you so much for doing this. Can you fight the Residential and Tenancy Act and the Landlord and Tenant Board?" So at that time I was like, what is that?
Wow.
So then we got into knowing about the RTA and the Landlord and Tenant Board, and we got to see the bigger picture from municipal government to provincial government, the Residential and Tenancy Act, the Landlord and Tenant Board, and how this all really weighs heavily on the housing industry, and that how together as a community and traveling to different landlords associations and being a part of these type of podcasts and YouTube channels is a way to bring that awareness so that we can educate you on how that works, as well as a way for us to advocate together so that we can create a better system for both good landlords and good tenants, and of course taxpayers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you so much for doing that. Like every time I talk to you, my eyes are open to a different world, because there are people out there, like Kayla is doing it with 4 kids and a portfolio of real estate investment. She started investing when you were 18. So she has a big portfolio herself, and she's managing it herself.
Yep.
And managing 4 kids, and then have a property management business. And she's doing this started this Ontario Landlords Watch initiative completely on her own. There's no profit being made at the back end. There's nothing charged, and it's purely an advocate for the landlord to fight for our right, just to have that fair ground to play with. I guess fair playing field. Yeah, and one of the things that you brought up recently was the Landlord Credit Bureau. Can you tell us a little bit about the Landlord Credit Bureau?
Yeah, so it started off with obviously doing a bunch of different consultations with the government and waiting for this bill to come out that was supposed to be massive changes. And with Bill 184 that was unraveled, not much there to protect the industry and the landlords and obviously good tenants. So I got very discouraged and I said, there's got to be something. We got to look for different products and different services on the web. And that's when I found Landlord Credit Bureau. And that's when I looked at them, I interviewed them, I screened them like I would screen my tenant. And it was like, how is this allowed? How is this legal? Getting to know that the founder is a retired RCMP officer and that the CEO is actually a lawyer, you know, really grilling them through these questions. Like, it's about recording the payment history of all these tenants. So it's good or it's bad. It's all being reported. You're reporting your tenant's monthly payment history to Landlord Credit Bureau. And it's not just going to Landlord Credit Bureau. It's getting reported to Equifax. You're able to do a tenancy search with Landlord Credit Bureau. You're able to pull up the past landlord's name and his email address on a tenancy search for when you're also doing it. And the credit checks are now coming live next week, I believe it is.
Oh, wow. Through Landlord Credit Bureau.
Through Landlord Credit Bureau.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we have that system as landlords when we always want to make sure that the system is broken. It's getting some improvements with our help and our consultation, but we need to get ourselves into that. If we get the right type of tenant into that house, we don't have to go and deal with the RTA and the LTB as much as we are here in Ontario. So utilizing Landlord Credit Bureau inside of your tenant screening process on Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace and saying, I report your monthly payment history, or I do a tenancy search through Landlord Credit Bureau, that's getting that knowledge to the tenants. So the professional ones are going to stay away, and you're going to have some serious investors who actually want to grow their credit, because it's not just about reporting that delinquency of a debt or putting that collection on them with Landlord Credit Bureau. It's about growing your tenant's credit score with just paying the biggest expenses as they have as their rent.
Yeah, so the idea, I remember a couple years ago when I attended your Ontario Landlords Watch conference, by the way, I heard that there is one coming, hopefully.
We're working on some details with the elected officials right now. We're just hoping to do it before the election.
Yeah, so like a couple years ago when I was part of the conference, I remember, maybe I remember it wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the whole initiative is about helping landlord helping tenant.
Yes.
So it's not just helping landlord to provide an equal playing field, but it's also helping the tenant as well. I think this Landlord Credit Bureau thing is really also helping matching that, putting that two together and helping the tenant as well. So would you mind telling us a little bit about how the process works? If I am a landlord, I'm a brand new landlord, how does it work?
Yeah, so once you get into Landlord Credit Bureau, you sign up. So there's two different type of memberships. One is a basic free membership, and the other one's a premium membership. In order to report into Equifax, you'll want the premium membership. That is $199 for the year, and then it's 60 cents per lease per month. So if you have 5 people on the lease, you still only pay 60 cents. And there's also an initiative for your good tenants to actually have their own account, so they can also have a premium account for them in a way for you to report on their behavior. So this is a great way to kind of offer that to your good tenants. But again, you don't need the tenant's consent or judgment in order to report a debt. So you don't really need their involvement as much as well. So it's a really great way to get into the Landlord Credit Bureau, check out what the benefits are, and you got your sign up. They do a validation to make sure that you are who you say you are, which is great. That's why I like that, when you do a tenancy search and you had a review on that tenant, because as a landlord, you can give a review on your tenants as well, and we get to have access to that.
Yeah.
So you get to know that landlord has been validated.
So let's say I'm in front of my tenant. I'm actually in the process of getting my new tenant. So when I sell this whole thing to them, essentially what it does is that if the tenant pays rent on time, then they get reported to Landlord Credit Bureau, and which then get recorded to in their personal credit report, and that helps to boost their credit score.
Yes.
And get them faster into home ownership.
Yes.
And that's how we are supposed to explain to our tenants, right?
Oh yeah, like when you're doing the new tenants and you obviously don't know if they're good or bad. So what you do, you go on landlordcreditbureau.com. There's a clip there for your application as well as a clause. I like to print that out and have them just sign it and say, okay, and this is the Landlord Credit Bureau form. This is where I'm going to get your permission so I can report your monthly payment history to Landlord Credit Bureau, which is going to go to Equifax, help you guys build your score while you pay rent on time. But if you don't pay your rent on time, it's also going to impact your score as well. So they already got that, oh, I'm excited, and then all of a sudden, okay, I gotta be an adult here. I gotta make sure my bills are paid on time. And it's really changing that behavior, and it's a way for landlords to operate the way that we need, and it's all about a business.
Absolutely.
The numbers need to make sense. You should know that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. $199 seems like a really good deal to be able to be on the same playing field as the tenant. The other question that I have is that so if they are not paying rent on time and you are reporting it, that's going to lower their score, right?
Yes. So if you are reporting a delinquency, you're also impacting the score, and you're able to have a trademark on their credit score. So now when you look at a trademark of having Landlord Credit Bureau there, and now every landlord who's doing credit checks through Equifax, they're going to see that trade line. And this is a trade line that's going to follow them until the payment has been made.
I've seen quite a few successful stories on the Ontario. One of them is Ontario Landlords Watch Facebook group. Landlords out there have been using Landlord Credit Bureau, and are you personally using it?
Oh yes. I love it. I feel like you have your rights back, even though it's to the point where you're affecting. You don't have to go to small claims court. You don't have to go to the landlord and tenant board to get a judgment. You don't have to get yourself into small claims court in order to get the garnishment. You're now, or having to go to a collection agency who is taking 35 to 40% of what they're trying to collect, and normally they will collect because it hit their credit. So we're skipping that part. Normally you would have to have about 500 accounts in order to report any type of delinquency to the credit bureaus. This way you're going through Landlord Credit Bureau in order to have that. No matter how big or small your portfolio is, you can indeed put your tenant's payment history into Landlord Credit Bureau to either grow it or impact it. But you have that bargaining tool. And especially with COVID, mind you, make sure any landlord in Ontario is that you're having your payment agreement pushed out to your tenants first before you want to apply them to Landlord Credit Bureau. And if they miss that payment plan, that is what you can go on, just to show to be fair and that we're not greedy landlords.
Well, that is great. That is excellent information. Thank you so much for doing that. Without you, I would not have been able to learn about this particular tool that's available. It may be useful for our tenancy and our property management right now. So thank you so much for coming on to my YouTube channel.
Thank you for, I'm excited to be here. Subscribe.
Yes, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this video with any landlords that you know out there in Ontario. Actually, Landlord Credit Bureau is available all across Canada, right?
Canada and the United States.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So make sure that you share that with all your landlord friends and report your the tenancy payments and rent payments, and that's going to help them get their future house as well. So if you have questions, make sure that you comment in the section below, and if you want, you can also get to Landlord Credit Bureau. The link is in the YouTube note below. Thank you again for watching. Have a great night.
Bye.